Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this video you're seeing here is what you want to watch, I hope you can see how beautiful the style look. It's very beautiful and elegant. It's something you can wear for acting, and it's a very beautiful style for Ankara. So we are going to work on that style that you're looking at right now. And as you can see, I've already folded my fabric by 2. So the length of Ankara is 45, but if you look, you'll notice I fold this Ankara in by years. I didn't fold it by the length of the Ankara, I fold it by the years so that I can be able to get the length of the gown that I'm cutting. So right now I have to proceed. This line I'm marking right now is my starting line. This is my starting line. So from this line I'll get the length of the gown that I'm working on, which is 60 inches. The length of the gown is 60 inches. So I'll mark out the 60 inches, which is the length of the gown, and I'll roll it with a straight line. So after marking out the length of the gown, the next thing I will mark is from the shoulder to my bust line, which is 9 inches. From shoulder to the bust line, which is 9 inches. Then from shoulder to half length, which is 17 inches. Then from the half length to my hip line is 9 inches. So from shoulder to my new line is 38 inches. Then I will come up by 2 inches. So 38 inches, I will come up by 2 inches, which is 36 inches. So I'll be marking 36 inches and then the full length of the gown. So I'll be rolling out a straight line on those lines that I marked. So this is the new line. After marking out the lines, the next thing I have to mark is my shoulder divided by 2, which is 8.5. My shoulder divided by shoulder is 17 inches, divided by 2 is 8.5. I'll also mark 8.5 on the bust line, and I'll connect it with a straight line. So after marking the 8.5, the next thing I have to do is to mark the neckline for the back. So the width of the neckline is 3 inches and the depth for the back is 1 inch. So I'll connect the back neckline. Then the next thing is to mark 1 inch for shoulder slope, and I'll connect it back to the neckline. So after that, the next thing is to divide my armhole by 2 and mark the midpoint, which is 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. So I'll mark 4 inches. Then on that 4 inches, I will come in by ½ inch. So after that, I will divide my bust circumferences by 4. My bust circumferences divided by 4 is 10 inches. Then I'll be adding 2 inches for both joining allowance and for ease. That's 12 inches. So I'll be connecting my armhole from this point down to this point and to this point. So after connecting the front neck armhole, the next thing is to connect the back armhole using my free hand. So this right here is the back armhole and here is the front armhole. So after marking that, the next thing is to divide my waist circumferences by 4. My waist circumferences is 38 divided by 4. That will give me 9.5 plus 2 inches for sewing allowance and ease. That will give me 11.5. Then the hip measurement is 44 divided by 4. That's 11 plus 2 inches for ease. That's 13 inches. So I will connect the line from the hip down to the waistline. And then from the waistline down to the bust line. So after connecting that, the next thing is to measure what I have on the hip and my loss 1.5 inches. I have 13 inches on the hip. My loss 1.5 inch, I will be having 11.5. So I'll be marking 11.5 on the new line, and on the full length I'll be marking 11.5 inches. So I'll be connecting the lines with a straight ruler. Then I'll connect the hip line down to the new line. So after ruling out the body measurement, the next thing now is to mark out the front neckline. So from the shoulder line, I'll place my tape to the half length. My half length is 17 inches. So I will come up from the half length by 1 inch. Then from the center body, I will come in by 1 inch. You can do 1.5 or 1.2, depending your choice. So let's work with 1.2. Then from shoulder I will come down by 9 inch, which is my bust line. Then I will come out by 1.2. So I'll connect these two lines from the bust line down to the half length line that I come up by 1.2. Then from the neckline, I'll connect it down to the bust line. So this is what I have for the neckline. Then on the down part of the dress, I'll be adding extra 2 inches. Extra 2 inches for my folding allowance. So after marking it out, I will now cut. Start from the shoulder line, from the back neckline. Alright guys, to cut the back piece, I folded my fabric into 2. So the next thing I have to do is to mark out 1 inch for zipper allowance. So I'll mark 1 inch straight for zipper allowance. So after marking 1 inch straight for zipper allowance, I'll now place the front bodice on the back. So I'll place the back body, the front bodies on the back, as you can see. So the next thing now is to rule out the lines, which is the chest line, the half length, the hip line, and the new line. So, and I will do the same this side, the bust line, the half length, the hip line, and the new line. So after ruling out the line, the next thing is to do the zip contour. Okay, so on the half length, I'll come in by 1 inch. On this 1 inch, I'll connect it, I'll mark it with a straight ruler down to the bust line and down to the hip line. So I'll do that with a straight ruler. I'll connect it down to the bust line and down to the hip line. Then the 1 inch that I take out on the waistline, I will replace it on this part. I will replace it on the waistline. Then I will measure whatever I take out from here and fix it back. Let me mark this to the bust line. So I'll measure whatever I take out on the bust line and replace it, which is ½ inch. I'll replace it to the bust line. So I'll connect the lines back. On the new line, I'll come in by 1 inch. Then I'll connect this 1 inch down to the hip line. So after that, I'll replace this 1 inch that I take out on the new line. Then on this down part, I'll also be cutting out this 1 inch to the hemline. This 1 inch, I'll also be cutting it out to the hemline. So on this part, I'll be adding back the 1 inch that I'm going to cut out. So I will now connect this 1 inch down to the hip line. I won't be adding anything because I didn't minus anything from this part. So after that, I'll also be taking this line back to the hip line. From the waistline, I'll also be taking it back to the hip line. So after doing that, the next thing I'll be cutting. So I'll be cutting from this part. So I've cut out the hip contour, the zipper contour. So I'll be cutting from the neckline. Remember, this is the back neckline. I'll be cutting exactly what we have on the neckline and on the shoulder line, on the armhole, down to the lines that we added. So this is what we'll have for the front and back. So the next thing now is to cut out the front neckline. If you remember, you notice when I cut the front pieces, I did not cut the neckline because I wanted to work on the back first before cutting the neckline. So right now I'll be cutting out the neckline for the front and also the armhole for the front. I will follow the lines we have here to cut the neckline. Remember, we did 1.2. I try raise it up so that I won't be cutting both the back, so I won't do that kind of mistake. So after cutting it out, the next thing now is to open the front. So this is what the front look like. The next thing I have to do is to measure what I have on this line, to follow this line and measure.
How about this just ordinary fish, this man dey smoke.
So I have 16. Make sure you get to the accurate point that you cut it. I have 16, let's just say 15.8 here. So but I will be cutting a long stripe of 2 inches, folded by 2 inches, and the length could be up to 18 inches. Okay, I have cut out the stripe 2 inches, folded by 2 is on fold. If you open it this way, it's 4 inches, on fold is 2 inches. So I'm going to sew starting from here, this point. I'll sew, and when I get, I will leave out ½ inch. I'll stop at ½ inch before the main cutting. I'll stop at ½ inch before the main cutting. I won't sew it to the extreme. Okay, I'll also do the same thing to this side. I'll sew like this. Then so I'll take it to my machine and sew. After sewing now, I'll show you what it looks like. I've stitched this part down, as you can see, leaving ½ inch from this edge to where I stop my stitches at 1 inch, ½ inch before the main cutting line. I've done the same thing to the other side. So after doing that, I will now trim out the excess I have at the shoulder line. So after trimming out, the next thing is to measure what I have from here to this end. I have 6.9. or you can say 7 inches. Okay, so after you measure what you have from here, okay, so I've cut out a pieces of 7 inches and I added 1 inch, making it 8. The 1 inch I add is for the stitching allowance. So I've joined the both side, as you can see. So I'll turn it inside out. Then the next thing I have to do is to take this and fix it inside these pieces that I sew. You have to be patient and arrange it properly. After fixing it properly, the next thing I have to do is to notch ½ inch from this part. Please always pin. So I'll pin it down and I'll notch ½ inch. So from this part I will notch straight and half an inch. It will not pass ½ inch. And on this part also. So after notching the ½ inch, which you can see, take your time while doing it. You see this folded edge is the ½ inch that I notched. So the next thing I have to do is to fold this part in. To fold this part in, both front and back. I'll do it gently. So after folding it in, as you can see, so I have only this ½ inch edge. I have it open, as you can see. So I'm going to run a stitch here and run a stitch here also. Okay guys, as you can see, I've sewed this part. I've sewed it and I've stitched this angle down. And I also iron it very neat. So the next thing is I'll keep this one aside. And then let's work on the back. So on the back, this is the center area for the zipper allowance, and this is the side. So on the center area, I will mark. So on the center back, remember our zipper allowance is 1 inch. So I will measure where my zip stopped. So my zipper will stop from here. So from this part, I'll measure 1 inch. I'll mark 1 inch, following whatever curve that I have here. After marking the 1 inch to the hem, I will top stitch here this part and I will sew it straight following this 1 inch down to the hem part. So I'll take it to my machine now and sew. So guys, as you can see, I've sewed it down to the hemline. So the next thing I have to do now is to attach my zipper. I've also ironed down my 1 inch for zip, as you can see. So I'm going to attach my zipper on it. So I'll take it to my machine and attach the zipper and I'll be back. Okay, I have attached the zipper, as you can see. So the next thing I have to do is to join both the front and the back, to join both the shoulder. So I'll be joining it with 1/2 inch. I'll also join this side with 1/2 inch. So let me do that and show you. Okay guys, after joining the armhole, the next thing I have to do is to measure what I have from the zipper area down to this point. So I'll measure what I have. I have 19.5. So I know it's 2 sides. From here to here is 19.5 times 2. Here to here is 19.5. That's 39 inches. So I've already cut out my long stripe. I cut more than 19 inches. I added excess also. So the next thing I have to do is I'll fold I'll open this fabric like this. So guys, after I measure what I have here, which is 39 inches, I cut excess fabric. So I will measure 14 inches from this folded area. So from this 14 inches, I'll sew at the center. I hope you are seeing the way I place this fabric. I'll sew at this line that you are seeing. I'll sew at the middle line to this point, holding the two together. After sewing it, I will now have something like this. I'll have something like this, and this place will be stitched together. Okay, so I'll go and sew it. Then after sewing it, and I will now attach it from this excuse me, I will zip down this place and I will now attach it from the zipper area. I will attach it all around to this point. I will also attach it all around to this point. So I'll first of all go and sew the 14 inches, then we'll proceed. Okay guys, I've sewn it. This is the inside. See, there is something I did here which I didn't show on camera. I want to explain it. If you look here, you notice that my zipper get to the end of this black material. So I will explain how I did that. I first of all measure what I have from the neckline. I measured it to the end of this part, and I have, initial time it was 19.5. I don't know sure, but I'm having, after sewing it, I'm having 21 inches here. So I cut a very long stripe, more than 24 inches. You understand? So let me use this as the experiment. I cut more than 24 inches and I open it this way. I fold it this way. I have to cut this part open, having two pieces in a separate way. As you can see, this is separate, this is separate. I have two pieces in a separate. So all I have to do is to measure Remember the zipper allowance is 1 inches. Then the slit opening, the neck opening that I want to do is 14 inches. So I added down 1 inches for zipper allowance, making it 15 inches. So I have to measure from here to this 15 inches. So on this 15 inches, I have to sew it. Remember, I cut this part open. I have to sew it to this end. Then having something like this, separate. So I have to sew this one from the zipper allowance. This is what I did here. I have to sew one pieces from the zipper allowance down to the end of the neckline, and also sew this one from the zipper allowance down to the end of the neckline. Okay, then I have to sew I lose my zipper, and I have to sew it up to the neckline, up to the black material, because I want it to be easy for the person to wear it. If you want to wear it, you can easily open your zipper and put your leg, then after wearing, you close your zipper to the end. So I'll get to my machine and I will fold this excess inside. I'll fold it in. So guys, looking at what I have here, you will notice that I have excess fabric, so I'm going to cut it out. I'll just do freehand. I'll trim out some. I'm not cutting everything out. I'm trimming out some, leaving some pieces inside. You can see what I'm leaving now. So the next thing I will do is I'll flip this to the other side. So at this part, I'm going to notch, not in a straight form anymore, but in a slant form. I'm going to notch. In a slant form, I'm also going to notch this side. So after that, I'll bring these pieces from inside, from the front to the inside. So I have to take it from So after bringing it out this way, all I have to do now is to hold it together this way. I'll hold it and sew in a straight line. I'll hold it and sew like this. So I'll go to my machine and sew it straight like this and trim off the excess that I have. Okay guys, I've sewn this part. See how it looks. So the next thing I have to do now is to work on the side. So after sewing that part, I close the both sides with 1 inch. I close the both side with 1 inch. So after closing the both sides, I stop my stitches at the new length. This is the new length. This is the new length, and this is the opening for our slit. Alright, so I have to measure what I have on the new length. So I measure and I have 25.5. So I cut out the stripe that I will use, and I added extra 4 inches on the stripe. As you can see, I folded one side. So all I have to do now is I'm going to place it right side of the plain material, facing wrong side of the Ankara fabric. Right side of the plain material facing wrong side of the Ankara material. So after sewing with After sewing it, the next thing, I'm going to flip it to the right side this way. So when I get to this point, I'm going to fold like this and stitch to this point. So after sewing it, then I'll fold this 1/2 inch like this and run a stitch on it. So I will do this on this 4 side, here and the other 2 sides. Then after that, I will measure from this slit opening. I'll measure up to 3 inches or 4 inches. Then I'll place my pocket. This is my pocket. I've already cut it out. I've done the folding. Then I'll place this fabric. This is the wrong side of the plain material. I'll place this fabric on the wrong side. On the wrong side of this material. After sewing it, I'll flip it to the other right side, having something like this. So I'll measure 4 inches, 3 inches from the slit opening. So I'll fold this pocket and notch the center. After notching the center, I'll place the center on the 3 inches I measured above the new length. I'll place it and sew. So I'll take it step by step. Okay, I'll go and do the new part before the pocket. I'll measure this 3 inches from the new line to 3 inches or 4 inches. It depends on your choice. Then I'll place the pocket. I'm going to place the pocket this way. I'll get the midpoint of the pocket and place it here. Then I'll fold this 1/2 inch and run a stitch on it. So my pocket will be like this. So this is what I'm going to have for the both side of the cloth. So after this, we'll move down to the sleeve.